Hey guys, it's Abby from Autumn of Pelennor, and today I will be reviewing The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Just before I start, I'll say that I'm not scripting this video in any way, so if it seems a little rambly and all over the place, it's because it is. I'll start off with how I ended up reading this book, and especially this book physically in particular. I'm doing a travelling book thing with some people off of a UK book group on Facebook, and one of the girls put up a post and we all commented, the rest of us, and we're sending this around the UK to, I think there's 5 of us, and we read it and we annotate it. So some people won't like that, but here's one example where Sasha, the girl who had it before me, did a lot of annotations. And yeah, we just put in our own thoughts, and I've written quite a bit in this bit. And it'll just be a really nice thing to look at the end, especially with a book like this, where it's such a controversial issue, even though it shouldn't be. And yeah, so we can kind of see each other's opinions, and we'll like write little notes. Like there's a few little bits where I'm like replying to Sasha with what she's written. So yeah, some people wouldn't like it, but I quite like the whole write in it and send it round aspect. So the book follows Star, a young black African American, I believe, girl, who is living in a ghetto, self-described ghetto area, called Garden Heights, whilst also attending a school in a more white, affluent area. So she gets to see both of these seemingly polar opposite worlds. Now, this is a spoiler-free review, so I don't want to say too much, but considering what the book is about, the fact that it's a contemporary, the blurb and all of that, I am assuming the majority of you can guess kind of how it goes down. When you get to know the characters a bit more, and when you get to know a little bit more about some background stuff, there's still some really good surprises, some really good different plot twists. But the essentials of the book, the very core, I knew was going to happen before I went into it. And yet I still love this book, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the core part. She wants justice for Khalil. She wants the officer who murdered him to go to jail. She wants people to realise that a change needs to be made. I absolutely love how friendship is looked into within this book. So there are the friendships within Garden Heights and the friendships within Williamson High. So going for the high school first, she has 2 main friends there. One is Hayley, a white girl, and one is Maya, an Asian girl. I believe she's Chinese. She also has a boyfriend from the high school, again a white guy, and his name is Chris. Her relationship with these 3 characters really goes under a lot of development. They get a lot of fleshing out, they get a lot of different characteristics, and I end up absolutely loving and absolutely despising 2 of them, and one of them's just pretty cool. If you've read the book, you might be able to guess who I mean. Again, I don't want to spoil it too much. Chris is an absolutely amazing boyfriend in this book. He is so caring, so understanding. He realises that he makes mistakes, and he does make some mistakes, but he tries to make up for them really, really quickly. As the second he realises he's done something wrong, he is willing to stand by Star for as long as she needs him. And yeah, the relationship in this book is amazing. It's done so realistically, it's done so well. I absolutely love him. Like, I would date Chris. When it comes to the Garden Heights relationships, they're a little different because there isn't the undertone of she's black, the rest of them aren't running through, because everybody there is black as far as this story portrays. She doesn't seem to have too many friends in Garden Heights as the book starts, with the majority of friends being more like family. But this kind of slowly starts to change and develop with different members of the community coming out, and interacting more with her community, despite the fact that she goes to a predominantly white school, which made her withdraw for a while. And it was really interesting to see the difference between the 2 sets of relationships. This book got me really riled up and really annoyed. As my flatmates can attest, I needed to take breaks from this, and I just walk into the kitchen like, no, I need to rant and rave about X, Y, Z, I can't believe this has happened, can you believe this has happened? It hit me, it really did. I didn't expect to have such an impact from it, just because I didn't believe I would relate, but instead I'm just angry. I love this book, but it made me angry. Because Angie Thomas has captured something that happens in real life. This is a work of fiction, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out that it aligns so closely with someone's real life experience. And that makes me angry, because no one should have to go through that. No one should ever have to go through what Star goes through in this book, what Khalil goes through, what happens in the community. But it happens daily in America. I don't see it as much here in the UK. That may be because I live in the north of England and there's less of a mix of races. It is predominantly white, just because it's very cold and people don't tend to move up here. So therefore I wouldn't see as much difference. But yeah, it's hard hitting. One thing I absolutely loved about this book are the parents. It is a YA book and the parents are there the whole way through, and they're not perfect, but they're not evil. They are an accurate representation of what parents are. They've made mistakes in their life. They're not perfect, oh my mum and dad do nothing wrong. They've made mistakes, they've screwed up and they've tried to fix it. But at the same time they are always there. They will always love their children. And despite the fact that they argue between themselves, the love that they have for each other is really cute and really sweet. And it's just nice to see a real family portrayed. That's one main thing about this book actually, is that it's so realistic. It's realistic in the way that made me angry, in that this happens to people. This is disgusting that this happens to people, but it's also realistic in that people act like this. This is real life. Yes, sure, other books, there will be people who act like them, but this is the majority. This is how people actually are, and even across the ocean, we're pretty similar. And seeing the friendships, the family dynamics, the arguments, the jokes, the laughs was really good in this book. And it's one of the reasons why I've praised it so highly. I don't think I've encapsulated this book well enough. I don't think a spoiler-free review can, and even a spoilery review is not going to hit home just quite how hard hitting this is. I really recommend that you pick it up. I personally avoid contemporaries like the plague. They're just not my thing. I find it really weird to read about like Facebook and Tumblr and Twitter and mobile phones within a book, because I didn't read for a few years and that's when these things became prevalent. So before that, they didn't really exist. There was maybe like some blogs on the internet that was about it, and then I come back to reading and suddenly Facebook's this huge thing, Twitter's this huge thing, we all have mobile phones that are tiny computers, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like this. So that kind of weirds me out a bit, but I loved it in this book, it worked so well. And yeah, I always avoid contemporaries. They're just not for me. I don't want to read about day-to-day life. I want to read something fantastical or historical. Something hard-hitting that isn't likely to happen. But hard-hitting that has happened, will happen again, is probably happening right now. That's important. And when it's written well, it's beautiful. Thanks for watching guys. If you enjoyed, please give it a like. If you've got any thoughts or comments that you want to have a chat about with this book, then pop them in the comments down below, because I'd absolutely love to talk about this. Please consider hitting subscribe if you'd like to watch some more of my videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye!